Hi, welcome, namaste. I want to share with you a simple sequence to help you care for your back, relieve any tension and tightness you may have, to increase flexibility and mobility in the spine, and to help you relax your mind and body. Back care or back pain also starts often with stress. It could be emotional stress, it could be from long periods of sitting, from bad posture. So these poses are going to help you to create more length, more space, and just feel good overall. Make sure you have a block handy. If you don't have a block at home, you can grab pillows or blankets, or even stack maybe like a phone book or several books to give you some height. So let's start with this pose. It's called child's pose. Come to your hands and knees and bring the feet together, but let your knees open a little wider than hip width. Slowly bring your hips down and extend your arms forward. For some of you, the hips may stay high. You may be rounding your back. So what I want you to do is just place a blanket or a pillow or something between your calf and the back of your thigh to give you more comfort. This pose, as you begin to deepen your breath, relax the forehead down towards the mat. It can seem very relaxing, but it's an active stretch as well. This pose is fantastic to do it at the end of the night, before you go to bed, especially after a busy, stressful day. You can do it anytime during the day as well. Your arms can reach forward or can reach back by your hips. And the idea here is that you allow yourself to connect with your breath. The breath is going to be a great tool to help you relax, release tension. The moment you consciously begin to lengthen your breath, automatically your body responds by relaxing and softening. Take four more full deep breaths, inhaling deeply through the nose, exhaling completely out of your nose. Maybe move your forehead from side to side, massaging the front of your forehead. And on your next inhalation, lift the chest slightly, come high on your fingertips, walk your hands forward, at the same time you're pressing your hips back to create more length in the spine. As you exhale, walk your hands towards the right and see if you can keep the arms straight and keep the left hip moving towards the left ankle or heel. And think of breathing to the entire left side of your body to create space, to stretch the area between the ribs and intercostal muscles. It just feels really good to side bend, especially if you have long periods of sitting down or working in front of the computer. That can create tightness. As you inhale, come back to center. Exhale, move in the opposite direction. Relax your neck. Continue to deepen your breath. Slowly come back to center. And as you inhale, begin to roll up one vertebra at a time, so the last thing to come up is your head. Now for the next pose, come to your hands and knees. It's one of the most common poses in yoga, which is called downward facing dog. But I'm going to give you a couple of options. Again, you don't have to be super flexible to this sequence. The more you practice, the more length and range of motion you will have. So the first variation is for you to walk the hands forward, keeping the hips over your knees, and lengthen the spine. The forehead may or may not touch down the mat, and you must stay here. If you want to go for the full pose, make sure the index fingers, the pointing fingers, are pointing towards the top of your mat, and the elbow creases are moving forward as well. You can start that right here on your hands and knees to make sure the shoulders are moving away from the neck, from the ears. Now, as you engage your belly, the belly button towards the spine, exhale, begin to lift the knees off the mat, lifting the hips up and back. Your legs may become straight, heels may touch the mat or they may not, but I want you to concentrate here on bending the knees slightly and bring your chest back, lengthening the spine. This is an inversion where your heart is above the head, so it's very calming. It's also begin to lengthen the entire back muscles. It relaxes the neck, shoulders move away from the ears, up towards the hips. Your knees can stay bent in here, especially if you have limited range of motion on your shoulders and neck. You can always walk your hands a little wider, especially if you have broad shoulders. And just baby bend the knees one at a time here, swing the hips from side to side. Let's add a mini flow here. So as you inhale, bend the knees, come to your tabletop, look forward, creating an arch in your back. And as you exhale, go to child's pose. Inhale, come to tabletop, hands and knees, then exhale to downward facing dog. Let's do that one more time. Inhale, bend your knees, look forward, arch your back. Exhale, round the spine, go to child's pose, to then downward facing dog. Again, your knees can stay bent, especially to lengthen the spine, pull the belly in, and just pausing here, closing your eyes, and you can hold this for a few more breaths, pressing the palm, the entire palm and finger pads onto the earth, and relax the neck. Maybe move your head from like saying yes and no. And when you're ready, slowly begin to look forward towards your hands and baby step your feet forward. Folding in half and slowly roll up one vertebra at a time, so the last thing to come up is your head. The next pose we're doing is called Uttanasana, or standing forward fold. Make sure your feet are about hip width apart, so make sure this inner hip, no outer hip, so you don't want to have your feet too wide. The toes are going to be pointing towards the top of your mat. Especially if you have a tender back, I want you to bring your hands to your hips and keep the knees slightly bent, okay? Think of moving from the hips, not from the waist. So as you inhale here, standing tall, exhale, bend the knees, bring your seat back, lift forward with the heart. Continue to create this long spine. As you exhale, continue to exhale, think of draping your chest over your thighs. Relax your arms, relax your neck. If you want, grab your elbows with opposite hands. Now, depending on your flexibility and mobility, your legs can become straighter or can stay bent. The idea here is to let the spine elongate, to let gravity assist you by lengthening the neck, stretching the entire back extensors here, relaxing the shoulders. You may sway from side to side once again to bring some side bending into your body. Press down through the heels and hold here for 5 breaths. Continue to press down to the earth as you allow your entire spine and upper body relax onto your legs. Legs can be straight or bent. Again, that doesn't matter, but if you have back discomfort, please keep the knees bent so that way you find more stretch and length in the spine without the pulling of the hamstrings. Release the arms. Slowly begin to roll up one vertebra at a time. Really go slow. Once again, the head is the last thing to come up. Pressing down through your legs, activate the legs so that way you don't feel any dizziness when you're coming up. And slowly release. For the next pose, come to your hands and knees in here. Pigeon pose. Oftentimes this pose may be a little tricky for beginners, but it's great for back pain or backache. Even though you may not see it like it, it's great to open the hips, especially stretch the hips, so as the hip flexors to externally rotate the hips. And it helps to strengthen your core as well. So slide your right knee towards your right wrist, slide the left leg back. Now this right heel can stay towards the center, or maybe slide or walk the foot towards the opposite hip. The tendency here is to lean to one side, which that will create a lot of back pain. So you can grab your block, your blanket or pillows and place it under your right hip. Let me turn around so you can see. So especially if you notice that your hips are really high, there's no way they're going down, placing something underneath, it can give you some support to stay upright. Now the key here is to press down on the leg, on the right leg, and press down on the left leg. Make sure the toes are pointing back as well. Now connect with your core, relax the shoulders. If for any reason you feel a lot of stuff happening in your knees, this is going to be your variation. You're going to lay down on your back, flex the foot, ankle is off the thigh, and you can grab the back of the left leg and think of bringing the leg towards your chest as the right knee moves away from you. So you feel more of the stuff happening in your outer hip by the glute rather than the knee. So now the next step is to slowly, as you exhale, fold over your leg. You can stay high in your forearms. You can come to your forehead by stacking one hand on top of the other, and once again avoid leaning to the right, stay center. And deepen the breath. So the idea here is to train our minds to soften even when we're challenged. So by deepening the breath, we stay calm, we stay centered, we allow the body to slowly begin to let go of the contraction or the grip that may be on from our daily life and stress. So just continue to breathe deeply and slowly, softening into the stretch. And when you're ready, inhale, come up. Now tuck the left toes under, draw the left knee forward, and then bring the right knee up and back, and you can circle the leg around. So you invite again this fresh flood of blood and nutrients back into the joint, and let's switch sides. Sliding the left knee towards the left wrist, left ankle towards the right hip, and walk the right foot back. Offer support under that left hip if needed, or go back on your back, crossing the left ankle over the right thigh. Stay upright for a couple of more breaths, pressing down through the left leg. So actively you're anchoring down, but at the same time you're creating buoyancy, pressing through the top of that right foot, keeping the center of that thigh pointing down. This automatically begins to stretch the front of the right hip, getting to the hip flexor, the iliopsoas muscles that tend to be sometimes the cause of back pain. As you exhale, you can come back to your forearms, or you can make a pillow with your hands and lay down once again. Continue to deepen your breath, letting go of any worries and anxiety being present. Oftentimes, back discomfort can come from emotional tension. So being able to exhale the necessary to let go and relax your body gives time for your body to first nurture itself, to trigger the relaxation response, to let go of the constant tension and tightness. And when you're ready, slowly begin to come up. Slide the right knee forward, bring the left knee back, and circle the leg around a few times just to increase the mobility of the hip joint, and slowly release. For the next pose, bring your block or your pillows or blankets. We're gonna do bridge pose, supported bridge pose with a block. You're gonna have a couple of options. You can have it in the lowest position, medium, or highest, depend of your spine flexibility and level of comfort. So if you have any sensitivity at this moment, if you're in some type of pain, I suggest to stay in the lowest position. So we start by making sure our feet are about hip width apart, toes pointing forward. Inhale, press down through the heels to lift the hips. Grab your block, lift the heels and place the block on the back of your hips, not on your low back because that will be very uncomfortable. So you want to be in the flat area of the back of your hips. Lower the heels down, turn your palms up, close your eyes and let your lips part. Now let your hips continue to melt onto the block, so the entire weight of your body is supported by the block and your shoulders. Feel the entire front of your body stretching and opening. Just by letting your lips part and closing your eyes, automatically you go inwards. You allow your nervous system to reset. Feel the entire stretch in the front of your body. You're opening your chest. Maybe the hip flexors are being stretched as well. You bring energy, consciousness, breath to your belly, to your chest. It's also another mild form of inversion since your heart is higher than your head, which again is very calming, restorative in nature. When you're ready to come out of this pose, simply lift the hips a little higher, maybe lifting the heels of the mat, removing the block from underneath you, and slowly lower one vertebra at a time so the hips are the last thing to touch the mat. Pausing here to let your spine neutralize. And I love this pose. The next pose we're going to be doing is called windshield wipers, where you bring the knees together and feet really wide. Open your arms out to the sides. And as you exhale, bring both knees towards your right. Look over the left shoulder. So both knees are moving in the same direction. The left hip is going to be internally rotated. The right hip is going to be externally rotated. So not only we feel a beautiful stretch on your QL, the quadratus lumborum, which is a muscle in the back, on the low back, on each side of the spine. Come back to center as you inhale. Exhale, now move in the opposite direction, looking over the right shoulder. So we're not only feeling that beautiful stretch in the back of our bodies, but we also are working our inner thighs and outer hip on each leg independently. Slowly come back to center and let's do that one more time on each side. And while you turn your head in the opposite direction, then also you're twisting the cervical spine. Come back to center. Now for our final pose in here, Shavasana, you can extend your legs forward. Let your feet open out towards the sides. Palms are going to face up towards the sky. As you inhale, take a deep belly breath. Exhale, open your mouth and empty completely. Let's do that one more time. Inhale through the nose. Exhale, open your mouth. Now let go of the control of your breath. Simply let your lips part, keeping your eyes closed, and let the earth underneath you support your body. Let the natural flow of your breath nurture every part of your being, every tissue, every muscle. This is where the magic happens. This is where all the poses you did begin to take hold in your body. You can stay here for as long as you like. We're going to be here for another 5 full deep breaths. If you're ready to come out of the pose, I'll guide you through it. Otherwise, stay here for as long as you like. Begin to wiggle your fingers, your toes. Maybe move your head from right to left, left to right, massaging the back of your skull. And on your next inhalation, bring your arms overhead. Point your toes, lengthen the spine, deepen your breath. Exhale, open your mouth, soften your body. And slowly roll to either side, whatever feels more natural to you at this very moment. Roll to one side, resting your head on your bottom arm. The top arm is in front of you. And when you're ready, slowly begin to come up to any seated position. Bring your hands to your heart center, closing your eyes. Take a moment here to reconnect with your breath once again. To sit up tall, lengthening the spine. And take a moment here to give thanks for the many blessings in your life, for the opportunity to step on your mat, to do some gentle, simple movements to help you relieve tension and tightness, but also to bring overall mind, body, and emotional wellness. Thank you so much for watching. Namaste.